well, actually, let me take it down because today we are actually going to be ranking impactful deaths. So, hello, friends. How are you today? How are things?
I'm great. How are you?
Fair enough. Well, welcome to Geek. I didn't even let you talk.
You didn't. It's fine.
Welcome to Geek. As you can see, I am friendless yet again. Vivian is once again taking the guest side of it. So today we have both Vivian and Peter. And as I mentioned earlier, today we are going to be ranking the most impactful death. And let me tell you, y'all spoiled so many things for both Vivian and myself. But eventually we came down to a nice consensus. Well, I did.
Yeah, I don't know what's on this list. Jasmine ultimately picked whatever's on here, so I am also blind to this.
You are also blind today, but it's a lot. We've got a lot, and it's across all mediums. There was a lot of comic book deaths. There were a lot of TV deaths, a lot of superhero deaths, obviously. There were even a few animes in there, which, Jesus H. cannolis, could y'all put a spoiler warning on those, please? That being said, are you guys excited to kind of dive into it?
Yeah.
I'm as excited
so
as one can be. You should be scared. We're talking about death.
Can I just ask you before we start, is there for both of you a specific impactful death that kind of you're hoping is, not hoping, but you think is going to be on here? Or one that really impacted you?
I know one that really impacted me. Do I think it's on here? I don't know.
What is it?
Dean Winchester.
Oh.
Supernatural. That had
I'm on season 2 of that show, so thank you.
Well, you're welcome. That's the most I've ever cried ever watching a piece of media. But that's also just really personal to me.
Final episode kind of a thing? Or?
Yeah.
There's so many that I want to be on there. That I assume will be on there. And there's ones that like impact me greatly throughout my life. But if we're talking right at this moment in 2024, I'm not going to spoil it, but the one in X-Men 97, you know what I'm talking about. It's my favorite character of all time. So I'm still feeling, I'm in my feels about it a lot. That's all I'm going to say.
That was a very good episode. Alrighty, friends, without further ado, let us dive into our first emotional death. I'm going to start us off a little easy. I'm going to start us off a little slow. So we're gonna kind of work our way into it. We're going to start off easy with Elle from Up.
Ellie.
Ellie from Up. Sweet little Ellie from Up. When I tell you this was the first time that I realized Disney wasn't playing, this was such a raw, and just the music, like it was so sad, you know?
The first time Finding Nemo didn't do it for you?
No, Finding Nemo didn't do it for me. That was so quick, but this is like, you felt the entire emotional journey of both Carl and Ellie going from children. And you know me, I love. And you know, the handprints on the mailbox, you saw their entire life, and I know she was older, but watching Ellie climb up the hill when she's young, Carl struggling, and then her struggling and Carl having to run back, it was just sad.
Yeah.
This is also one of the first like deaths that impacted me as a kid. I was like, why am I feeling so many things? This is a cartoon. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's in this list, and it could be so many things. I would put her in top 5
for
right
move
now.
them around, right?
No, should I let you?
Yes.
I will let you move them around. You're like, yes.
Okay, because if it's pure blind ranking, we're going to get in trouble.
No, you're
What if we get like 2 moves?
No.
Make it extra
I will let you move as many as you
So
can.
I put this at like, for me, I thought this one would be on there. I think this is like number 3. Because like the character death is like less impactful for, I don't have connections to it. There's no 3,000 love, but like it's the whole movie.
Yes.
Like you go into a Disney park and you hear do 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 no, and you're just like, oh, I'm crying now, and it's because of that.
And it holds you. It's one of those that you've been changed by this moment.
Yeah.
And you said 3?
You said 3?
I'm happy putting that at. That's where I would put it,
We can
because just
start
because
at
I
3,
feel
We'll
like
start at 3, and we can always move them around.
Yeah.
it's like she specifically
right
doesn't
there.
matter that much, but like. No, hold on.
She matters to Carl.
Oh, we love women in this house.
What I mean is like we don't get to know her as a character as we get to know some of these other people. I'm sure where it's like, oh man, but that's the whole movie. You know, the movie is Ellie. So if you like Up, that matters.
Yes, and of course, knowing that a movie surrounded, or really is built and encompassed by one character is really important, especially when you get into emotional depths. Speaking of which,
oh man,
Logan.
Oh my goodness,
That's
hard
quite
hitter,
a photo.
Right?
The fact that that's the photo you chose,
Yeah.
compared to Ellie's. Oh my god.
Look at her.
So Logan, I feel like his death in general is just extremely impactful for a fandom because we saw him in all of the.
I mean, you say that, but then we're getting him back soon.
Yeah, I know. And listen, void that for now. Like having like X-Men was one of the first superhero films that we got, at least for my generation. I don't know, our generation. And so seeing everything lead up to that moment was just really like, it was hard hitting.
It's pretty hard hitting. I'm an X-Men fan first and foremost, but I think I don't have it that high for a few reasons. One, that movie is phenomenal. I was crying. But also in that movie takes place in clearly an alternate future, right? It's not the main timeline. Also, by the time Logan comes out, I think X-Men Apocalypse had already come out, so we're kind of like, all right.
Oh, we're just a little deluded at this point.
Well, it's like,
saturated.
I don't really care about as much as I love the X-Men franchise and First Class and Days of Future Past. I'm like, it doesn't feel as impactful in that regard. And when I saw the movie, it hit, and every time I watch that movie, one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, it hits so hard. But there's not a sense of, oh, this is going to continue. And like, of course, before they announced he was coming back for Deadpool and Wolverine, there's always this thought, oh, he's coming back. You know what I mean?
So here's my thing in regards to impactfulness is prior to like Apocalypse, prior to him coming back for Deadpool Wolverine, when we thought that this is the last time that we would see like specifically Hugh Jackman as Logan, as Wolverine, it was extremely impactful. The second they came out with him coming back, Deadpool Wolverine and everything, it dilutes this movie.
And we've talked about that in a few other rankings before.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
So where are we going? Top row, bottom row?
5 for now.
5?
For now.
You're trying to be safe.
Trying to be safe? All right. I feel
Are you
that's
trying to bottom row this?
I think that's a bottom.
Well, we've got time to debate.
We got time.
that.
We got time.
Yeah.
He can come back.
Someone who doesn't have time, Jack.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is one that when I was getting like answers sent into me, so many people said Jack, and I was not expecting that. I don't know.
This is such a big, just in pop
is.
culture and media, this is such a huge moment. I feel like this is one of those films that no matter how old you are, you're showing your kids Titanic. Everyone knows about the 2-box Titanic, the 2 VHS Titanic. Everyone watches this. This is death that everyone knows about.
There was room for him on that door.
Well, that's an argument for every day. Literally.
Okay, Jack, I would put Jack in the bottom row.
I'm kind of with you on that.
Oh my God.
But only because I
Comic
don't
book
particularly
people.
love. Yeah, and I also don't particularly love Titanic. I mean, it's a good film. It's a good film. I just like it's not. I'm not going to go rewatch it all the time. And the death though is impactful, like in terms of cultural cachet. I feel like it has a lot of more impact in the world than Logan does. So if we're talking about to you and I,
Gotcha,
it's
I get
pretty
what you're
low.
saying.
If we're talking
Okay.
about to the world,
Yeah.
it's definitely higher than
even
Logan.
separating myself as a comic book fan, because I still cry at everything.
Yeah.
Titanic is a
Same.
movie that I will rewatch and I will cry every single time. Like this death will make me cry. However,
That being said, where does it go on the list?
I would put it at 6.
Okay.
6.
Do you agree?
I'm okay with
put
it
it
at
on the
6. We
board.
can shuffle.
Okay, I
things
know. I'm
around,
like
too.
we'll get him on there.
We
And
can
then
get him. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Spider-Man. Okay. This one, yes. This is going back to Logan. This was impactful when it happened, but then he came back and it was fine.
So I mean, it's about the not them coming
moment.
back. It's about how
moment.
impactful was
That-
the death.
So yeah, that's a question. Are we talking about like specific
That's
moments?
a question for y'all.
So the thing is, okay, if we're talking specific, the moment that it happened, erasing everything that came afterwards, this was not even the fact that Peter died wasn't what like hit me. It was the fact that Tony lost him. That's what made this death impactful for me, and that is what I think. Like where the actual emotion comes from is like not just him dying, it's the loss that everyone else took because they lost the kid.
Yeah.
The kid.
That's fair.
The kid.
I agree with that. Every time I watch Infinity War, that makes me cry. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen that. So that's got to mean something. I mean, even at the time when I was watching it in theaters, and I was like, they've already announced that there's another Spider-Man movie coming, and they're not just gonna, kill off like T'Challa and everyone. So I was like, I know he's coming back somehow, but it doesn't matter in terms of when you're watching it and you're
Right.
experiencing it. One of those weird things where it's like, oh, I think it's above Logan.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Yeah, we could
You
put him
don't-
at
no,
4.
no.
Not
4?
above
Yeah,
Ellie.
not above Ellie.
Oh
4.
wow. Okay. For me, Ellie is 1.
Yeah.
Out of these, Ellie is 1 for me. But for you two, who kind of pride yourself
I mean,
on
I
comics
love-
and X-Men and spiders and
But on the same note that he said, I was in complete denial that he was really dead.
Yeah.
And so, it would have hit more if that was
sorry, I
solidified.
just didn't want in my whole heart just like Because this was, I like want to, this for me is the most impactful death I've ever experienced in my entire life in so many ways. Glenn.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm literally getting watery. Like, my eyes are getting watery.
Backstory for me, I thought I was going to marry this man. I was so delulu. I know, I say that about a lot of people, but this was someone I actively loved. I loved his character, and I mean, I'm still following his career. This death for me, I didn't read the comics, so when it happened, I had to stop watching the show because of this. I still to this day have not finished this show because of this fucking moment.
And that is impactful. This death, I remember going to school the next day wearing all black. Like, I was grieving. This felt like I lost someone close to me, like a loved one. This is number one for me.
It's number one for me. And I also didn't watch this because I was a season behind. I was going to catch up.
You never even got to this?
No, because I was a season away. I was going to catch up. I was like, no, I'm not going to catch up.
This, I don't know any other deaths in here that beat that.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It literally stopped me from watching a show I liked. I think that's pretty.
I stopped watching after this.
Do you think, here's a question before we move on. Do you think that means it's a good death or a bad, I'd argue that I don't think it's actually good for the show, but I want to hear what you
I would argue that it's the most powerful thing that you can do as an actor, as a writer, as a screenwriter, to have someone fall so deeply in love with someone, fictional, mind you. This is a fictional character, fictional person. I fell so in love with this character, I could watch anything beyond him. Is it great for the show? No, I'm such an emotional person. I'm gonna watch it eventually, obviously.
That's what I was gonna say.
But it was so powerful, this moment and everything they built around this character, that it's the greatest thing. It's the greatest compliment that this actor will ever receive.
Right. That's where I disagree with the show's choice. Only because there were so many characters that just weren't the same as the comic book, so you don't need to follow the comic book storyline. And Glenn is clearly the standout in the show in a way that he wasn't in the comics to the same degree. So I don't know.
But last quick comment on this, I do like I'm glad that they took that risk and they stuck to this, because when shows don't have impactful deaths like that, you lose a connection with it. I don't know.
That's fair.
As a fan.
Speaking of really impactful deaths at Disney, Mufasa.
Listen. Sad. So sad.
So sad.
But I wouldn't put it at top 5.
It is really hard to go after Glenn to Mufasa. I will say that.
But Mufasa it's important.
This is all of our childhoods, right?
It is,
This is the moment that we all stop being children the same way.
Right, but for me, not that I'm in the ranking, I feel like this is like the Catwoman to Batman, and I love Catwoman, but it was only to propel the hero.
Yes, it has less impact. But I think we're going back to the question that we see sort of with maybe Jack. It's what is the impact on the story versus the impact on us? So the impact on the story, this is one of the things about Jack, we didn't get to it, but it's the story is over with his death, right? The movie doesn't go on after that. So it's an impactful death because that's hammers the story.
They talk about it for another 84 years.
Yeah, exactly. So you might be right.
2 is what I'm hearing.
8? Put him at 8.
7?
7?
7? Okay, we'll take 7 for now.
I feel like I'm going to want to move everything after.
This is another one where it's
We've got
his
a
death.
few more to get through. So
Sure. We can shuffle things along.
Are we ready?
Coil.
Sure.
Yes.
No one does death like HBO.
Oh, it's got to be Ned. Yeah, he's got to be there.
Okay, see, I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
It's okay. We'll cut that out. We'll cut that bit out.
I'll get to it eventually.
This, just to give you a little backstory, this was the first time I realized you could kill off main characters. I didn't think that was possible. I thought this man was the show. And I get it, we just talked about Glenn, but whatever.
It's the first time it was done this way.
And I was like, what?
Did he die early on?
Rough. I'm not going to go there.
We're not going to spoil it for you. He dies. Okay. That's the point. He dies.
This is all
1
yours.
to 10. All right. I think that's a 2. Easy.
This is the 2?
So here's the thing. I had to intentionally not watch Game of Thrones. It's one of those shows when it was coming out. I was just I'll get to it.
Sure.
But I knew about that death before I even started watching the show.
That's a bummer.
It didn't even change how much it matters.
That's a good note.
You're like, what?
That is a good and then everyone, specifically
the moment is crazy. It literally also, it's an 8-season show that propels everything. It propels the entire show.
Talk about an impactful death.
Yeah,
Man.
8 seasons.
Okay.
Should have been 9.
You had mentioned earlier that it's not about someone dying. It's about the people left behind after they die.
Oh no.
Iron Man. The death of Tony Stark.
We got to start shifting some
We gotta
stuff
move
here.
everything.
Yeah, we got to move some things
So we
here.
have this, it's about Ned Stark. Everything's got to move. Everything's got to move. How are we shifting?
I'd put him above Ellie.
Above Ellie, yeah.
Above
for
Ellie?
sure.
And then move everything
Sorry,
down.
Mufasa. Start moving this
Yeah.
bad boy.
See, this is like,
God,
if you
Logan.
compare him to Spider-Man's death,
Yeah.
this, like, his actual death, like Tony Stark passing away, is like,
It's impactful. It changes not. You know, the MCU is still sort of dealing with how do you move on from getting rid of Tony and Cap.
Yeah.
like, you feel that loss.
Yeah, it hits so hard. I mean, I have a poster in my room that says "I love you 3000" on it.
Yeah.
It's like
And the thing is, like, you feel that, I'm sure, like, if you're thinking hypothetically in the world, like, those characters feel that loss, but even as a fandom, as the MCU has continued, we can still feel that loss, even in the shows, the TV shows, everything.
it means the end of something.
Yes.
The death of Tony Stark isn't just about the death of Tony Stark. It's about the end, the culmination of 11, 12 years, I think?
Yeah.
At
12
that
at this
point,
point, yeah.
Of like MCU movies that we grew up with, that
Yeah.
we were
It was
going
the
to
end of
all
an era.
the, yeah, it was like, okay, this part of your life is over now.
Yeah.
And that's
Speaking of
sad.
ends of eras, eventually all of us have to end childhood.
Got it.
Yeah, you can see.
No,
through
I
it.
can't see.
So what happens when you are faced with the end of the Iron Giant?
Okay, this one, don't hate me. It is impactful. Again, I cry at everything.
Sure.
However, I don't think this impacted me much as a kid because I don't remember watching it much. I had to rewatch it again older.
In your adult life?
Yeah. And I don't know. It was sad.
Okay.
I'll say
sad.
you turned it around and I started to tear up like ever so slightly. I'm like, oh
You were
man,
fine.
that's
So
how
it was
you
just
know.
a bit before your time.
Yeah. Oh.
But how does it compare?
I mean,
to
so
these?
to me, it's the same level of
As Mufasa.
yeah, but I think it's above Mufasa. Well, I think we got to move Logan down. I'm looking at this. I don't like Logan above Jack and Mufasa, to be honest.
Wait.
Wait, what?
Pause there. Pause there.
Whoa.
You want to put Logan under Jack and Mufasa?
Yeah, for now. Oh, again, only because of the context.
Okay.
We
Well,
can
for
put
now,
him
yeah,
back.
throw him
We
up
can-
there.
yeah,
Throw him
yeah.
up there.
So throw him there. We can move things.
Okay, we're gonna move things around for sure.
Is this the last one?
Rue.
That's a 10. That's an easy 10.
No.
Hold on.
I disagree.
I'll explain. Okay, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Quickly
Okay.
explain.
Me explain or him
I
explain?
don't care either one.
It's the Hunger Games. You go in expecting them all to be dead.
Not sweet Rue. That was the whole thing.
You expect
This was-
PETA to be dead by the
This
end.
was, but Rue's death was the
Okay.
death of innocence.
So,
Sure.
yeah. And granted, yeah, there are a lot of little kids who go into the Hunger Games, they have to die. So, yes, like you said, it's expected. However, I think it's the repercussions of her death that was really impactful. So, it's the fact, it was the way that Katniss handled her death afterwards that was
Yeah.
like, this is a moment that is significant not just to like the Hunger Games itself, but to everyone outside. It's what catapulted like I think the whole revolution. It's what
does.
her
It
death
is.
is what made all the other characters start to like really rebel.
Okay, so if we're talking about in-universe impact, that's a huge impact for sure. If we're talking about out to
Okay,
us
okay.
impact, and I'm happy to move this around and we can make it in-universe, but in-universe it's very high. To us, it's like going into the movie, you see this, like even if you haven't, I had never read the Hunger Games book, but I'd seen Battle Royale, which is like
Sure.
similar. You know that
not
most of them
similar.
is like you meet Rue and you're like, okay, she's going to die.
I did read the books. I watched the movies, and even reading the book prior to the movie, her death, I think, on film still.
It's a
was
very
still,
Is
impactful
it above
moment.
Logan
Yeah.
or below Logan?
I think it's above Iron Giant, and I think it's above Jack, but below Logan. But that
she
just
just-
means
yeah.
that we got to
We
move
gotta- we
Logan
have to
up
have an
there.
argument.
I think we need to rearrange things completely.
Yeah, she's got two more.
I know,
sheets of
that's why
paper
I'm
over
like,
there.
that's the
She's
last
gonna make us
one,
make
right?
hard decisions. She's gonna make us have to kill one of our favorite deaths.
Okay, well, let's pause really quick. I'm going to tell you how I would shift things. You're
Okay,
going to tell me
please.
where you would put things, and then we'll figure out a consensus.
Sure.
I would keep it. I don't know Ned Stark, but I'm going to believe you all when you say that's, yeah, big. So I'd keep it at Glenn, Ned, Tony,
Two Starks up there.
Ellie, Spider-Man, Logan.
Okay.
So Logan at 6. To be honest, I'd actually switch Spider-Man and Logan. I won't make you get up, though.
Okay.
Rue, Mufasa, Jack,
Jack,
Iron
IG?
Giant. Yeah, I guess.
I'm okay having this here now because it seems like we've got more we're going to have to discuss.
I'm so glad you guys brought that up. There were so many impactful deaths given that I didn't feel right not to put at least 2 more deaths into the running. So unfortunately, yes, this will not be your final ranking. You will have to decide which 2 do not make the cut.
Ooh, we have to kill him.
Oh yes.
Oh my God, we have to kill
You
them.
have to kill your most impactful deaths. First up, Gwen Stacy.
Oh, okay.
And this specifically is TASM to Gwen Stacy. And I want to
That-
remind you,
yeah.
this death was so impactful that they redeemed it in the last Spider-Man.
yeah. Okay. I would.
And we got to go quick, friends.
If it's
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy in general, that means a lot more to me. If it's Gwen Stacy in TASM 2, the moment is spectacular. Wafello, don't fight me. TASM 2 isn't that great.
I'm gonna fight you.
It's okay. It's
He
good.
watches
It's
these
good.
videos.
I
He
know.
will fight you.
It's good. It's not like that great. It's
But where
not
does it
these
go?
movies. Like,
I'd-
come on, TASM
I'd-
2. No.
Get rid of Jack. I'd kill Jack again. Sorry, Jack.
Oh wow.
And then I'd
Put
shift
Gwen there.
Mufasa down, shift Rue down, and then
Are you putting Gwen all the way up there?
yeah. This literally, not only did it make me sad, it made Peter Andrew Garfield sad. So that's enough for me.
For me, it's not on this list.
You wouldn't put Gwen up here.
No, because we never saw. We got like 2 more minutes of the impact of that afterwards, and the only reason we got more time is because of No Way Home, and because they didn't make a TASM 3. If there's a TASM 3, maybe it stays there.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's okay. We've got one
got
more,
one more.
though.
Go
We've
ahead.
got one more. And this, I feel like if it doesn't make it on the board, you're going to have a lot of Star Wars people coming after you.
Oh.
Oh.
Rogue One, everybody.
Everybody?
Everybody.
Okay.
This
Rogue One,
starts, this is the prequel. It starts off everything about Star Wars that we know.
Rogue One, in my opinion, is one of the best Star Wars
Yeah, of
films.
course.
And okay. Would I switch anyone off of
So here's the
this?
question: would Rogue One still be as good of a movie without everybody dying?
I mean,
That's the
movie.
question.
But that's
I think.
that's
the movie.
I know it is.
The movie wouldn't have been made.
Would any of these have been good if we did not have the thing that we're ranking? That's not
fair.
the question.
That's fair.
Where's it going to be, though? Who are we getting rid of? We already got rid of
I
Jack.
want to take Gwen or Rue off.
You want
One
to
of
take
the
Gwen
two.
or Rue off?
One of those two.
He hates
I
women.
would keep.
I put Ellie up there. It's only because,
I
okay,
think I
both
would-
of those, it's like, I know they're going to happen. Rogue One is like, everything else here, it's like, even except for Glenn and I guess Ned if you read the books. But like, you're like, what?
But
That happens?
I think the fact that you know that it happens, it's going to happen in Rogue One, makes it even more impactful because then you know what the stakes are,
Oh,
and you know
I
that everyone is
agree.
still willing, like.
Willing to go for it.
do
I
it.
didn't think they were going to kill
You got to
everybody.
make a choice, friends. Where's
Okay.
it going?
I think it goes about Spider-Man, to be honest. Only because of what we talked about earlier, where we don't think it's going to stay that way.
I would put it up
Because
as Spider-Man.
I'm like, okay, Spider-Man's not
But
really gone.
so what are you getting rid of? I got rid of one. I guess I'll let you get rid of one for this one.
I love Spider-Man. I'm wearing a Spider-Man belt buckle right now. I'm gonna take off Gwen Stacy from TASM 2.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Especially like I knew Gwen Stacy's gotta die. I put it up at 5, I think. Yeah. I knew Gwen Stacy's gonna die. The moment is spectacular. But again, it's because we never got a TASM 3. If we got a TASM 3, we got to see the impact of that in the long run. It might mean more to me.
This was
But
hard.
It
Sorry.
was very difficult.
So this
very
is
sad.
your
Yeah.
ranking, friend. Do we feel satisfied, satiated
I want to
with
move
this?
I want to move Rue down. But
You
I
wanna-
won't-
you wanna
but-
move Rue?
But I won't. But
Who
that's
would
my last
you
thing.
put above Rue?
Mufasa. I'll accept being above Iron Giant.
Okay, fine. That's fine. That's okay.
It's a very impactful death.
We got to
I
keep
love
Rue on there, so okay.
I love Rue. It's
Alrighty, friends. Here is the final ranking for the impactful deaths. We've got at number 10, the Iron Giant. Number 9, Rue. Yes, gotta put the time in. Number 8, Mufasa. Number 7, Logan. Number 6, Spider-Man. Number 5, Rogue One, everybody. Number 4, Ellie. Number 3, Tony Stark. Number 2, another Stark, Mr. Ned. And number 1, the most impactful death is Glenn from The Walking Dead. Congratulations, guys. You have made it to the end. But in lieu of trivia, in lieu of brackets, I have something a little bit different as a game for you all. We're going to take the top 3, Glenn, Ned, and Tony Stark, and we're going to do a little bit of multiple choice.
Okay.
You guys are going to tell me what their final word was. Yes. So, starting with Tony Stark. Was his final word...
Choice. Okay.
It is multiple choice.
Hold on.
Was his final word... Do you guys know it without the multiple choice?
I think I do.
What do you believe the final word is?
I'm Iron Man.
No.
No.
Does he speak? Does he speak? I feel like he says pepper.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right. It's before he snaps, he says, I'm Iron Man.
And then after, I feel like he says pepper. But I could be wrong. Let's see what the multiple choice says.
The multiple choice is, I am Iron Man, I love you 3000,
No.
or Hey Pep.
Hey Pep. I would
Pep.
say it's Pep, it's not Pepper. If it's
Yes,
Pepper.
his
Hey Pep.
final word after speaking with Spider-Man, Pepper comes up and he says, Hey Pep, and Pep says, it's okay, we're gonna be fine, you can rest now.
I just got chills.
Alrighty, moving on to Ned Stark. Does
Saw
Ned
you.
Stark say, Valar Morghulis, which is all men must die? Is it, I kept my promise? Or does he look out and say, I'll always be here?
He doesn't say anything at the moment, I believe. I think it might be B, I kept my promise. He doesn't, who would he have said that to?
He does murmur something right before the
Yeah?
Yes, something is whispered right before the spoilers.
God, I can't believe I don't know this.
What was B and what was C?
B is
B is I kept my promise. C is I will always be here.
C.
Your final answer is C? C is incorrect. He actually, it was a little bit of a mystery. People thought that he had whispered Valar Morghulis, all men must die.
But he did say kept my promise?
He did not. The actor actually said, confirmed, I kept my promise,
I knew
which
it.
is a nod to him keeping the secret about
Yeah.
the person who I
Yep.
can't name because you have not watched the show.
Yep.
All right, finally.
I knew it. I was like, that's such a Ned line. Okay.
Do we know what Glenn's final words were?
Oh my God, no! It's been so long since I watched this. I
think
was
I
literally
have
a
a
sophomore in
guess.
high school.
Is it? Do you have a guess?
I think it's just Maggie.
I was gonna say, is it Maggie?
It's not Maggie.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
So
go
you're
ahead.
close. Is it I love you, don't watch, or I'll find you?
Ooh, I love you.
I'm going to go I love you.
I love you.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. That's my guess.
Oh, you haven't? I
Yeah.
think it's I love you.
Glenn's final words to Maggie, looking her dead in the eye, was I'll find you.
Ooh.
And it was his final words as the actor. It was to let her know. He said he wanted something that not only was impactful to the relationship that they had built, but for their time together, and to let her know that it's beyond love. It's beyond this time. I will find you. Alrighty, guys, that was our ranking
So
of
depressing.
impactful
Yeah.
deaths. Thank you both to Vivian and to Peter. Their handles are going to be right there at the bottom, so please make sure that you follow them, and we will see you again for the next ranking. Goodbye, friends.